Alright, what's up YouTube? Thought I'd do a little video on some of my favorite pheasant hunting gear, because that's really starting right now. It probably already started in some states. And we used to go quite a bit to South Dakota, me and a couple buddies of mine. And I just kind of want to go over some of my favorite stuff that I picked up over the years, and some of the stuff I got kind of after that, but I did a lot of local pheasant hunting trips and stuff like that. It was just fun to do. So we'll go over some of my favorite boots, clothing, whatever, and then we'll go in the second video, part 2, go through a few of my guns that I've used and the ammo that I like to use. So first of all is the boots that I've used, and I've used the crap out of these things. These are my Irish setter, and you can see they're really well worn. But the good thing about these are made by Red Wing back when I got them. I'm not sure if they still are, but I think Red Wing still honors the warranty in that. I bought these, as you can see, they're well worn from the grass and that. And these are the Irish setter. I want to say they're called wing shooters. Irish setter 847 is the number. I want to say these are wing shooters, is what they call them. And these are 400 grams of Thinsulate. They're Gore-Tex. They don't leak. These things have never leaked at all. And I'll even give you a little example. This other one here. I forget where it was. I bought these actually on eBay. They were new, never worn in the box. Right before I found out, right around the time I was going to South Dakota for the first time. And I went on eBay and I found these on sale. They're from a Red Wing store, I think in Michigan. And I wanted to get something light that I could wear that was going to be waterproof. Because one thing I know, now I know it, I didn't know at the time, but now I know South Dakota is pretty much always, in the fall, it's always wet. It's really wet. So, and I'm glad I got these, because I walked through many of puddles that were up to the top, up here. They never leaked. But I did have an issue with one of these, back when I first got them. I got them a few weeks before I was going to be going out west. I'm in northern Ohio, and I haven't seen a wild pheasant out here in this area since probably the mid 80s or even earlier. I started hunting when I was 10 years old, and in 1986, and I think we ran across probably maybe 3 or 4 wild pheasants back then. So they were probably long gone by the time the late 80s came around, but we didn't run across a few. We were mostly rabbit hunting with beagles back in that time for me and my stepdad and that. So anyways, when I bought these, I think it was this one, it had a stitching problem right here. The first few inches of the stitching was kind of coming apart after about 2 days in South Dakota. And I went ahead and I wore them the whole trip. I mean, I used them the whole time. But I started noticing there was a lot of little holes and the stitching was coming out and stuff like that. But they never leaked. These Gore-Tex boots, they're solid. I mean, this thing, it was coming apart pretty good right in here, in this top seam. I was walking through a lot of higher water, like sometimes, like I said, like up in toward the top right here. And it never leaked any water. But I was like, man, when I get back, back home, I'm gonna have to get these fixed. So, like I said, I bought these online. I didn't have any receipt. All I had was these, and I had the box. So I went to my local at the time when I was living in a different area. I don't live there now. I was looking on. I knew there was a Red Wing store nearby, so I went ahead and went to the Red Wing store. I took them in there. I says, hey, I just bought these within the last month or so. I said, and the stitching's coming apart here. I showed him right over there. And he goes, oh yeah, well, we can send them out and have them fixed. I'm like, all right, how much is it going to be? He said, oh, it's going to be free. It's free. You know, these are back at that time. I don't think it's like that now, but Irish setters were sold by Red Wing. So he says, "Oh yeah, we can have it sent out. We'll fix it." And I went ahead and they went ahead and waterproofed the whole boot, both boots, left and right. I went ahead and I picked them up. I think it was about a week later. They had them ready, and they've been good ever since. And the good thing about these, even though these got to be 10 years old by now, probably. If I take them into a herbiting store right now, even though they look like this, they'll still waterproof them for free. And these will, when they're done waterproofing these, they'll look like they're brand new. This all this discoloration and all this light stuff, as soon as they put that waterproofing on, it just disappears. It's like they're brand new. But I mean, you can see the soles are pretty good still. I mean, I've wore these a lot. I wore these every time I went to South Dakota. I wore them pretty much a lot of the bird hunts, even locally, because they're just so reliable and they don't leak. So what I would do, because if anybody's coming out to South Dakota, maybe some people watching this even live near there or live in Iowa or live around that area, you guys know that around this time, in the early morning, even the nighttime, whatever, you wake up at 6 in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning, whatever, it's usually pretty cold by now. It's usually, I know back when we were going, there was nothing to wake up in the morning at 6, 7 o'clock, and it would be in the lower 20s or even in the teens. So what I would do is I would take these, and I'd also take a spare pair too, another Red Wings that I had that are different, just in case these got like too wet or they couldn't dry. So I would take these, another spare pair. And I would also take a couple different kinds of socks. Normally, if it wasn't going to be too cold, I would take a regular pair of socks and like a thicker pair of maybe a wool blend or like just a thicker boot sock, and I would take some really warm wool socks too, just to be safe for all the temperature differences. So we gotta, so that's talking about the boot part. Now the pants, what I would usually wear, because I'm a big fan, if you could find them cheap enough, Carhartt or these Dickie thick canvas pants. Now I got Dickies and I got Carhartts, and I've been wearing them for years. These ones are actually, they got the double thick fronts on them. You guys can see there's got like rivets, and there's like a separate layer on the front. These were really good. I don't think I ever wore these out there because I didn't think I had them back then, but these are super thick. They're really cheap if you can find them. You can find them online. You can find them local. Walmart has them usually. Other places. But these double thick front ones, these thick, heavy canvas style pants are really good. Sturdy. In South Dakota, I'd never really encountered too much of the thick briars and the thick pricker bushes like we get up here in Ohio. But they're still good for the high grass and that, because usually there's a lot, in the morning there's a lot of moisture. And because these are thicker in the front, they don't get as much of the soak through. So that's good too. But this is what I usually use for this. If it's going to be really windy, I would wear some thinner thermals underneath. Usually maybe a light thermal top, or maybe a thick t-shirt or a long sleeve t-shirt, a nice thick flannel, and then my outer on top. I actually just picked this up within the last 2 years or so. This is a Carhartt. This is a hunting, it's basically like a vest, but it's got sleeves. And this thing, I actually splurged and got this because I had the vest. I had bought a newer vest a couple years before I bought this, maybe 4 or 5 years. I think it was when I first started going out west, and I bought a vest. But it was like a cheaper one, and it was starting to fall, like the pockets were starting to separate and this and that, and I was like, I just need to get a good. I ran across this at a Gabriel Brothers near me at the time. And it was actually expensive. It's something that I probably wouldn't have bought normally, but because it was a good deal and I really needed something, I ended up buying it. I think this was about 80 bucks back then. And actually, I just realized I must have wore this on a couple of my bird hunts because I still got some 28 gauge shells in the pocket here in this little holder. But and these are, what size are these? Oh, number 6 steel shot. Must have been a chucker hunt, probably. But yeah, this thing I've used this on pretty much every hunt I've went on for the last few years. But this thing is nice because it got sleeves on it, so you got a little more warmth if you're going to be out. And this is completely waterproof too. This is got the waterproofing on it. There's nothing in this pocket, but it has all kind of internal pockets along with these outer shell pockets here. You can see this this pocket right here. Let's see if I can get that on camera. Still got some shells in it, which I totally forgot were in there. But it has got a pocket inside, I believe, on one side. Or no, it's got a pocket right here in the front, inside, which has some gloves in it, which is nice. And then the other side here has this pocket, which has a zipper. It also has this pocket, which is the same as the other side, which has, I don't even know what it is. Oh, it's got a dog leash, which is for my dog. And that's it. So that's where the other leash went. I was wondering where that went, actually. And there's actually some feathers on it. Yeah, this is for the dog, my German short hair. I have to remember that's in there now. And then there, of course, you got your, turn it around. It's got your classic game pouch thing in the back. This thing is sturdy. This thing will last forever, pretty much. You can unzip it. It's got a zipper on the back here. Right there. So you can unzip it, clean it out. There's probably a lot of feathers in this one because there's been a lot of birds in the back of this thing. Yeah, this is I don't know the number. It's a Carhartt 2X. I like a little bit bigger jacket, so I have room to wear. Like, I actually wore my one time. It was so cold. We went out to a local place. It wasn't my normal club I went to. It was another local place I went to. I was invited there. It was a Christmas gift from one of my wife's, one of my stepsons. It was a 10 bird hunt for me and my middle son, and we went out there. It was so cold. I wore I forget what I was wearing, but I had my regular Carhartt like hoodie jacket coat that I normally wear in the winter. And we get there, it was freezing cold. I put that Carhartt like regular hoodie coat on. I put this over top of that, and I wore this over top of that, and it still fit. I was still able to zip it and everything. So that's how versatile this thing is. It's durable. I mean, you're not going to wear it out. This is why I wanted it. And when I bought this, I actually had vests that were mostly orange, but it was the same thing basically without sleeves. And I was like, for an extra 30 bucks, I want the one with the sleeves because they're waterproof. Sometimes you get caught in the rain and that in this fall weather up here in Ohio. I figure why not get the sleeve one? So, but yeah, that and maybe a thermal, and depending on the weather, thermal, maybe a flannel and a thermal, maybe a hoodie and that, and just depending on the weather. But yeah, definitely, if you're going to be out, not so much out west, but anywhere, if you're going to be encountering briars and prickers, these pants are great. These pants are great for that, especially the ones with the reinforced fronts. I had a pair of brush pants with like the brown, they were like jeans and they had the brown canvas on them. I have no idea what happened to them. When I got divorced, a lot of stuff got misplaced and thrown out. So they probably got thrown out. But definitely, I'm not going to tell you what boots to buy, but these have been really good for me. These Irish Setters. Like I said, they're the Irish Setter 847. I'm not sure if that's the model. Oh, these were made in July of 2008. Which is about the time I went. I think I went around 2008 or 2009 was the first time I went to South Dakota. So that's about right. So, but yeah, I mean, these things have been worn a lot. I don't even know how many. I don't even want to think about how many miles I walked in these things when we were there. Numerous times. I took these every time I went. I mean, that's all we did all day was walk. So, but yeah, they've held up really well. And they still got plenty of life in them. Like I said, if I took these right now and took what I realized about Red Wing, if you have a pair of Red Wings at all and you want to get them waterproofed, they'll do it for free. But when you do that, if you're going to take your Red Wings to the store to get them waterproofed, take the laces out. Because what they'll do is they'll take the laces out. If you don't do it, they'll do it themselves. And they'll waterproof all the tongue area, but they'll just put the old laces back in. So if you take the laces out, I found out, and bring them there with no laces, they'll waterproof the whole boot, probably better than they would if you didn't take them out. And they'll give you a free pair of laces, so you have an extra set. I found that a long time ago, so that's every time I take boots in there, which I haven't done it recently, but when I do that, I'll take the laces out, they'll waterproof the whole thing, both boots and everything else, and they'll give you a brand new pair of laces. So I could take these ones, spares, and use them on something else if I have to, or on these if I have to. And like I said, these actually have thin slate in them, 400 grams. They're pretty warm, and they don't leak. They don't leak even with bad stitching on the top right here, where this one was leaking. It wasn't leaking, but the stitching was coming apart. And I still wore them for probably 2 or 3 days, and pretty wet conditions, and never had a leak at all. So. The first thing I did when I got back home was I took them to my local Red Wing store, and they basically sent them out that same day, and I had them back within a week. And they came back waterproofed, and they were ready to go. So, but yeah, these, as you can tell, these have been well worn. Like I said, in fact, the stitching on this front part's starting to come loose a little bit, but not enough to worry about. I mean, these things, like I said, these things are great. I love these. And these are, actually, I found out after I bought these, because where I work now, at the steel mill, we get contractors in, and a lot of them are iron workers and that, and they love these boots. I see a lot of these guys, iron workers and that wear these for work. And I'm thinking to myself, man, these things aren't really that cheap if you go to buy them right now. And these guys are wearing them. They're covered with grease and everything else. You know, where I work, it's really greasy, and a lot of these guys that come in out from outside contractors and that, they get covered with grease sometimes. And these guys are just wearing these things like, yeah, that's my work boots. Which, whatever. I mean, but I think these, I want to see where these are made. Oh, these are made in China. I'm sure that these are probably still made in China. I know they still make them, because I actually recently saw them on eBay. I mean, not eBay, but Amazon. I went to look them up the other day because couldn't remember what they were called. But yeah, these are the Irish Setter wing shooters, I think they are. And I also had a pair of old Red Wings that were USA Red Wings that were similar to this. They didn't have this little toe cap part right here, but they were, I can't remember what they were, and I don't think they even make them anymore. I wore them out and I got rid of them. So, anyways, guys, this is a real quick part 1. Part 2 will be going over some of the guns I used and the ammo that I like, and we'll be doing some shooting. So, just a real quick little first part 1. So, thanks for watching. Check out our giveaway. I'll put a link to that, if I can, down below in the description. And if you have not, give me a thumbs up, and have not subscribed, go ahead and do that. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.